in the area of corporate governance. Let us remember for a second the name of great public sector wizard, Dr. Subir Raha. The chairman name of Dr. Subir Raha. He was an outstanding personality. He was taller than anybody, I think, in our country, and I think it has been a great debt of obligation on the part of ONGC to set up this chair at IP. Let me also give a word of welcome to Professor Stewart Lawrence. Professor Stewart Lawrence is an outstanding authority in the area of corporate governance at the Vaikate School. We have Dr. Sharif A. Sabar. Dr. Sabar is known for his work in the area of governance or everywhere in the world. We don't have Mr. Ranasom. In fact, Mr. Ranasom should have been here, but there is a call from Delhi, from the Prime Minister's office, and Mr. Ranasom had to rush, and therefore we miss him here. But he has been a guiding force. He has been a great inspiration to us in organizing this event. Mr. Bandyopadhyay is with us. IP started working in the area of corporate governance about 5 years back when he was Secretary Department of Public Enterprises. IP, together with Department of Public Enterprises, formulated the guidelines on the corporate governance, and his successor today has gone a way forward. Now, when the new Companies Act is under formulation, I understand that corporate governance guidelines may be optional for companies which are not listed. But when it comes to public enterprises, the legacy that Mr. Bandyopadhyay has left, I understand that even those enterprises which are not listed in public sector, they will also have to follow the guidelines on corporate governance. In other words, guidelines on corporate governance formulated by Union Secretary in the Department of Public Enterprise, Mr. Bandyopadhyay, they have become a sort of mandatory guidelines for public sector enterprises in our country. We have learned a lot from him, and we would continue to learn and enrich our knowledge and our work in the area of corporate governance under his guidance. We also have Mr. Shiv Kumar with us. Mr. Shiv Kumar is the Deputy Managing Director of the State Bank of India, and let me tell this to August House that Harvard University, in its most recent work on leadership, has quoted 2 examples of good leadership in India. And these 2 names which figure, they include Mr. O.P. Bhatt, who is the chairman of the State Bank of India, and Mr. Shiv Kumar here. I think it's a matter of great pride for India that 2 of our great leaders have been recognized as people who have enriched the theory of leadership, and that has been acknowledged by Harvard University over there. Whatever work we have been doing, we have done this work, and we are doing this work under the guidance of our beloved President, Dr. P. Ramarao. He has a rare distinction of being an academic, also being a practitioner, a person who has been contributing to policy making in public and private sector in India. Always he has been telling our colleagues in the institute, always he has been asking me that we to take more and more interest in doing innovative and fundamental and basic research. And I am sure that ONGC has given us an opportunity to go a bit on that path and fulfill his aspirations and expectations that he has from the IP faculty. He has created an excellent infrastructure for research in the institute and created an environment whereby IP faculty, I am sure, will be driven to do more and more research in the times to come. Friends, when I say that, let me also acknowledge here the presence of some great people who have contributed a lot to the growth of the Institute of Public Enterprise, who are known all around the world. We have Mr. T.L. Shankar here, my guru. I went to ABC of Management and Economics. I still say that I have learned only a small A, and all the credit goes to Mr. Shankar. All my colleagues at IBE, they always remember him, and also the way Mr. Shankar groomed us at the institute. We have Professor Bob Smith, a great expert on India, has been coming to India for the last 40 years. I don't think anybody has understood fiscal federalism better than Bob, and Bob can talk on any issue regarding fiscal federalism, the relations between central and state, where we should go and where we are. We also have Professor Lakshmi Narayan, we call him Pope, the only professor of public enterprise. and we are from the Institute of Public Enterprise. We take note of his presence, and we look forward to his guidance in our work from time to time. We have Professor Ghuman here, a very senior professor from Punjab University, Chandigarh, who has made tremendous contribution in the area of corporate governance, the most cited person in the world in this area. We are happy that he is our list. Professor Bhajan Grewal, who has done tremendous work in the area of corporate governance. Professor Locke Stewart, who is from the University of Waikato, who is dean there, and who has promoted this partnership between the University of Waikato and the Institute of Public Enterprise. Friends, when I say that, let me also acknowledge the great work done by this team, because of whom we are here. Dr. Sheetal Jununwala, a chartered accountant, a cost accountant, a company secretary, an MBA, a PhD. She has been a great leader. She has shown great leadership, supported by Dr. Geeta from the University of Waikato, who is a visiting professor at IIT, Dr. Mridula Sahai, and also Mrs. Kiran Mai and Lalita. They have done outstanding work. Not only that, they are doing this conference on in this inaugural session, they have been able to get the book. I think you have the book on corporate governance in your hand. That's very rare to see, and we support, I think, the publication effort. We have been helped a lot by all my colleagues at the Institute. Professor Ramarao said that more the merrier. If more and more people come, the quality of work will improve, will do better work. And my colleagues, I think, they have shown that they can come together and they can do a great work. Let me thank our senior colleagues on dais and off the dais. Mr. Modi Bhattacharya is also there, who is additional assistant to Dr. Tarun Chakraborty, has been of great help to us in signing an MOU over there. I extend to you a very, very hearty welcome. I'm sure we'll have two very productive days. I'm sure we'll go with a better understanding of the issues in corporate governance, because we have the best people in the area of corporate governance here in this hall. We have the guru of corporate governance, Mr. Bandyopadhyay, and we'll know much from him as to how corporate governance ball is moving, how this pendulum is moving from this side to that side. Thank you very much.
The convener of this conference, who has ensured this effort and brought us together to address the audience now.
Namaste, Aapka Swagat hai. Good morning and a very warm welcome to the second international conference on corporate governance organized by Center of Corporate Governance, IPs and the Deccan Management School, New Zealand. Corporate governance, its importance and its many facets will be discussed and debated at length during this conference. Hence, I'll not dwell on it. We at IP started working on this conference way back in January. Our efforts have borne fruits with the overwhelming response that we received and the presence of all of you here today. Almost 250 delegates from across the world, US, Australia, New Zealand, Botswana, Nigeria, Bangladesh and of course India are participating in this conference. We received about 300 papers, of which finally 120 papers will be presented over 12 sessions during these 2 days. In the afternoon, there will be 4 technical sessions, and tomorrow we will have 8 technical sessions, 2 sessions running parallelly at a time. In each session, specific topics, aspects of corporate governance will be deliberated upon, ranging from ownership, boards, roles of media, ethical behavior, to corporate social responsibility. The conference will end tomorrow evening with the valedictory session. The detailed schedule has been given to you in the program for your reference. I am sure during the conference, various issues of corporate governance will be analyzed and thrashed, giving inputs to policymakers, corporate leaders, and society at large to ensure good corporate governance for long-term sustainability of organizations. At a personal note, I hope the new concerns are raised, which we will go back and ponder and come back again to discuss, warranting another conference soon. Though my colleague will be giving a formal vote of thanks, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our director, Dr. R.K. Mishra, for his support and removing every bottleneck on my way. To all my colleagues who have lent a hand in making this day happen, especially to Ms. Shahbani, who most of you have been corresponding with, and who has worked relentlessly with me on this for almost a year. Lastly, I thank all the delegates and guests for participating in this conference. Wishing you all a very successful and consequential conference. Thank you.
We now request Professor Stuart Lawrence, Waikato Management School, to deliver the theme address. We look forward to hearing from you, sir.
Kia ora katoa. That's the New Zealand version of Namaste. I'm here on behalf of, as a representative of my colleagues from the Waikato Management School, and to express our pleasure in being associated with this conference. This is going to be partly an experiment for me, because normally I operate my own slides, but today I'm going to give a signal when to change. But my colleagues from Waikato think it's a signal for them to clap and cheer, so there may be some amusing incidents. It's such a pleasure for me personally to be in India. My family, my daughters, have been here many times and have told me endlessly that I must visit India. Finally, through the combination with IPE, Waikato Management School, I've made my way here. So we have a picture of the two girls who have visited often here. I show this because these are some of the symbols and images that people outside India know of this country. Of course, they're the two daughters of Taj Mahal. They've told me about the history, the traditions, the culture, the festivals, the energy, the chaos of which is India. And at the bottom there, one of my daughters is in Jaisalmer, which is near a village near Samod, where there's a palace near Jaipur, and she wrote a report for the United Nations on how this village could attract Western visitors to the place. She was so enamored with India that she went to Missouri in the foothills of the Himalayas to a school to study Hindi. So on a personal note, it's a fulfillment really of a dream for me to be here. But of course what we're here for is a very important conference. As an academic, we always question concepts. We use words and take them for granted often. But at this conference we're going to examine many dimensions of this concept of corporate governance. For me, it has various important elements, and what I'm looking for in the papers that we're going to listen to are answers to some of these queries that are in my mind. Oh, there's one before that, I think. For me, what is corporate governance? Is it entrepreneurship? No. Is it management? No. I think it's more about leadership, about setting a direction for organisations, of creating a culture within those organisations. It's been said to be the most important topic that we'll face in the 21st century. For me, it's almost a mystery how some people have this skill of leadership, how they can, not through giving orders or telling people what to do, but by allowing people to express their differing views, to give contrasting arguments, how they can then allow these different views but ultimately end in consensus. It's a rare skill, and those who are on boards of directors demonstrate these kinds of leadership qualities. So I'm looking forward to listening to some papers that inform us about that quality of boards of directors. Of course, if we're going to have leaders, in my hope and expectation, these leaders will guide us in good behaviour. They will be experts in knowing what is good and what is not good behaviour. They will be ethical people. I'm a great fan of ancient literature and Aristotelian virtue ethics. And in that theory of ethics, when we make a decision, we make it and think, if I were the person that I truly wanted to be like, what sort of decision would I make? And I think there's an important aspect of character and character development which links into corporate governance. So I think ethics is an important ingredient and relates to the idea of regulation. Of course we need regulation of corporates, but regulation is necessary but not sufficient. I don't think you can regulate for good behaviour. Maybe we need it though. The final thing, can we move on, is performance. Of course we want performance, and this is ultimately what we judge corporate governance on. Are the corporates giving us the results that we all want? And it's an area which is possibly under-researched. Often researchers don't know and don't have access to the goings, the processes that go on in high-level discussions in corporate boards. And it's an area of great importance. And I'm looking forward to hearing papers in this conference which talk about how we can assess the performance of companies, but also of boards of directors. The boards are operating in a more and more complex external environment, and increasingly more and more responsibilities are given to our leaders. I'm more and more in my work concerned with the impacts of corporates on social, on community issues and on the environment, on issues of sustainability. I think this is another issue that we're going to have to grapple with in this century. I think in my studies there are three sort of general arguments about this. One is the business view, which says, look, leave it to business. Business is geared up to making productive use of resources, to minimising use of resources in the pursuit of the overall corporate objective. And there's no necessary conflict between the pursuit of organisational goals and those of the wider community. So pursuit of profit is what organisations should be about. The view which has developed from that is to say, well, the pursuit of profit is good, but there are other groups who invest in organisations and their interests should be safeguarded too. Employees, suppliers, customers, the community in which the organisations are embedded and which they